need men. Question. Would you rather be alone, or would you rather come across in the forest a man or a bear?
Man?
Which do you pick?
A bear.
And yes, so you're a misandrist. Mm-hmm. You're a man hater.
I'm not a man hater.
Let me tell you why. Because let me ask. You think there's your risk assessment here is that you're going to get essayed by men to the point where you would rather be in the forest with a wild bear than with a man. Is that correct? Is that fair?
Sure.
Okay, so what percentage of men do you think in this situation would choose to victimize you? What percentage of men?
What do you mean?
Okay, in this hypothetical, you choose bear over man, right? Mm-hmm. So your risk assessment would seem to indicate that you think a high percentage of men.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So what percentage of men would victimize you?
I'm not sure I can come up with the percentage because
Take a guess.
Well, let me just say first, my reason for coming to this conclusion of a bear is because when I first think of, I guess risk assessment, I would rather take my chances with...
Well, I can I actually have an experiment for this.
Wait, but let me just...
No, okay. I want to hear this.
Hold on. No. Let's finish this really quick. Okay. What percentage of men do you think would victimize you in this scenario?
I know the answer.
Oh, there's like a statistical answer?
No, it's 50-50 always.
Oh my. Why don't we let her answer?
40%.
Okay, so knowing that the adult male the male population of the United States is something like, I think, 160 million, 40%, what would that be? That would be not quite 80 million men. Let's say it's 70.
Me change that.
So you think 70
30%.
million? You think 70 million men in the United States would choose to?
No, because I changed it to 30%.
I still find this incredibly objectionable. Incredibly objectionable, because there's currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 men. Sorry, my math's fucking terrible. In the studio. Okay, so 2 of the men in the studio are rapists. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying they're rapists. I'm just saying I'd probably rather be in a forest with a bear than men that I...
So, hold on. How is it not a bias where you think 30% of men, and you originally said 40, you think 30% of men are inclined to violence or sexual assault towards you?
Yeah.
$200. Women says that she hates men. You go girl. Slay queen. Man says he hates women, and everyone loses their minds.
Can I
Seems like Schrodinger's feminist to me.
I think more men are worse than more women, but that does not make the majority of men.
That's a sexist statement.
That does not make.
Wait,
not worse. I think less. You're taking.
You're saying there's more worse men than there are worse women.
More men have done essay, have done murders, have done rapes compared to women. It's statistically proven. I don't know the statistics off the top of my head, but that does not mean that I think that the majority of men are evil, disgusting creatures.
This is an apex fallacy. First of all, criminality is a very, very small proportion of the population.
Actually do wrong,
so to say that I'm going to have this sort of blanket assessment of men due to a small proportion of some men's criminality, you're attributing to the group the actions of a small fraction.
This would be the same argument towards racism. So that would be the same argument you would make in reverse for racism. Yeah, sure. So if you were to say, okay, a small percentage of the population, which happens to be this race, conducts X amount of crimes, you would immediately look for ulterior reasons why they were criminals absent the race, right?
Okay.
But how come you won't do that when it comes to men, right?
Okay. No, that's a good argument.
Yeah, wouldn't that be this? It's the same thing in reverse, isn't it?
I think on that one too. You're coming back with some good arguments, I'll say.
It's so sad that you feel scared by 30% of the men. This is so sad. And actually the better question is like why the young woman feels like that? Why she scares of the 30% of the men?
Because they've been indoctrinated and brainwashed.
Sure.
Or maybe
Because
it's happened before in the past.
Maybe it's happened.
Like personally,
To you?
yes.
yeah. Family.
This is a good question. You know,
but
guys.
if
we
you
don't
had-
want to be scared of you. We don't want.
Even if it were to have happened to everybody here
We
at the
want to
table.
love each other.
Hang on. Even if it were to have happened to everybody at this table, that every woman here was in some way assaulted by a man in a sexual way, and none of the men here were ever sexually assaulted by a woman in any way, that would mean nothing.
How?
That we would
That's
not
not just
be
coincidence
we
that-
would not be able to. How would you ever extrapolate that into anything?
So it's
from
just
this
coincidence that
setting?
if all the women here were SA'd, that they were just happened to be here at the same time, and all of the
anecdotal.
men that hadn't were here as well?
Well, I mean, okay.
Because
Well, let's
we are
let's
hot.
think about it for a second, right? Just kind of say, well, even if it had happened to everybody here, that we could extrapolate that out to mean something meaningful.
It's because we are beautiful and because we are whores. Yeah, that's
No, I'm not.
probably.
I'm not. I'm not.
I mean, like,
Can I like get
possible.
my phone and do a fact check? Because I've seen somewhere a statistic that says like it's over half of women that have been SA'd or whatever. By
Even if that's true, let's say it was 90%. You could still draw randomly from the street, get a same
Right.
9 sample, and still not one of those women had ever been SA'd.
Okay.
Right?
yes.
So we can't. So that's why I'm saying you can't draw like kind of those conclusions when you say, "Is that just a coincidence?" Well, yeah, it could be. It could literally just be a coincidence, of course.
Okay.
You can have fears
I
from
don't know.
personal
Wait.
experience. She wasn't arguing that.
I do
No,
think,
she was. She said, "Is that just a coincidence?"
I don't
Was that,
think.
is that just a? What does that mean? What is that just a
So
coincidence?
you're nitpicking on little words.
No, it's not a nitpick.
Well-
Yes.
How is it a nitpick?
She just said like that, and you just catch it. So
Yeah, you catch that one thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
that bastard!
yeah.
Like
There's
wait,
much
hold
more
on, hang on. Do you
interesting,
realize that
and you catch
people's
this.
thought patterns, the way that they think, and the way that they discuss things,
Yeah.
they hinge on pillars, and pillars are usually assumptions, right? They hinge on assumptions. So yes, I lock in on the hinge, the pillar that holds the idea
Wait,
up.
wait. I'm sorry.
you?
I have to interrupt this. I don't like to let certain things just slide. What was the stat that you just quoted?
Well, I asked if I could pull it up. I don't have that.
But
off the top of my head.
you said you think it's over 50% of women.
You can't-
I think I
have
know
been-
the stat she's referring to. It's like at colleges they say over 50% of women
Well,
have
no,
been
why don't
sexually
we have
assaulted.
her-
But then when you look into it, it's like
Why don't you tell us what you heard?
I told you I don't have it off the top of my head. I'd have to
What
look
do
it
you-
up. But it's
what do you
something
think
about
it
like
is?
half or more than half of women
Have been what?
SA'd or raped or
What? So when you say SA, what does that include?
anything unconsensual that is where they've been touched without that.
So if a man
wanting
were to tap-
What do you mean? What is that?
If a man were to tap a woman on the shoulder, is that SA?
No.
It's
Not
unconsensual.
sexual.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's so
Well,
Yeah, like
do you know about
there's a
sexual
difference.
touching?
I have a question.
Sexual touching without consent,
Yes.
and much of that can be perception.
it could be harassment. it could
Well,
be
hang
sex-
on, but much of that can be perception. So, like, let me give you an example. If a guy's sitting at a party, he's drinking, a woman walks over and just like randomly starts rubbing his shoulders, right? I've seen this many times. Nobody says shit, right? However, that's definitely sexual touching. He definitely hasn't consented to it. It's just nobody gives a shit. Let's switch it. Woman sitting at a party, right? Doesn't know the guy. He walks over and just starts rubbing her shoulders. Do you think that would become problematic?
I think it's odd, but I personally, if some guy did that to me, I'd just be like, what? Like, I don't know. To me, that wouldn't
But
be
if
like
a woman,
scarring.
sure. But if a woman said, "Okay, wait a second, that was sexual touching without my consent," would you agree with her?
I wouldn't agree with her, but I wouldn't look her in the face and say,
You wouldn't say no, right? You
I
wouldn't
would.
say no. And so that's the distinction that's being talked about here is that, wait a second, the reason we clarify these terms and we want them specific is because it's very clear to me that when women in an unwanted way touch men, just nobody gives a shit. They just don't care.
no, I
And the
agree with you. I
assumption-
think
yeah,
that
yeah.
I'm not trying to minimize the amount of SA that men experience. Like,
Yeah, right. But this way the classification matters because I'm not sure I would consider that SA, right?
No, I mean, I agree with you.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
Just saying, not trying to minimize.
But you realize
what
how
men feel
many
when that
of these kind of like tortured studies and stats that you would look at where the assumption of SA is that they would consider those categories even though they maybe don't belong there.
even worse, like wolf whistling is in some
And if
cases
I
counted
will
as well.
touch you now when we will go to smoke a cigarettes, this is called as ACE or
You
how?
realize you like so when you went back there to smoke a cigarette, did you note that I took a wide path, went all the way around you, never went anywhere near you, and came in just to avoid such a thing from even happening?
No, I didn't say.
I know you don't have to worry about it. That's the difference.
I love it. You watch your back, bro.
You don't have
Let's go
to.
smoke a cigarette.
You don't have to worry about it.
No,
But
that was just
guess
a-
what? But guess what?
We will
We
call
d-
it as
but
a
we-
sexual
hang on,
assessment. It's
but
called
we
or
do.
no?
We do. We do have to worry about it.
Will it's called as sexual assessment or no?
I mean, who knows? But
How
because
strong they will
because the
touch?
criteria is so gray, it's not really known to me or clear to me what could be considered assault or...
Living underscore donated $200.
What?
Holy crap. I've technically been essayed several times in my life
you
by
probably
women.
have.
I don't report any of them. Society doesn't notice casual women essaying. Also, bear versus black man, or black man versus white man.
I'm more scared of a white man.
I love white man.
Why would you be more scared of a white
So
man?
now, not only are you a sexist, but you're also racist.
Yeah.
We had a girl on the show. I think you were on this panel, Andrew.
Well, I had a girl on a show take off her, clothes
Well,
and
no.
like to assault me with her. Yeah. So
Well,
whatever.
that's not what I was going to talk about. But there was a girl who was. We were having this conversation, and she said there was a study done here at the local university, and that it included catcalling that fell within the purview of SA.
Yeah, I was on that show, I think.
Or were you on that show?
Yeah.
So I find these studies that they do, it includes all sorts of things, all the way from some, benign or mild harassment, all the way to like forcible violent rape. And I find like encapsulating all of those things into this sort of nebulous term essay is not particularly helpful.
It inflates the numbers.
I agree. I'm not
On
disagreeing with you.
purpose.
on
Right,
that.
but like when we're having this conversation, and it's I suppose some sort of framing where you're saying like the listener is going to interpret over 50% of women are at like full blown forcibly in the fucking, they're walking down a staircase somewhere, some random man just starts beating them up and like rapes them.
Well, that's not what I said.
Okay. Well, I'm just curious, and I don't know if this is a bit inappropriate of a question, but I think y'all were like, you were saying like, I bet every single woman here at this table has been essayed.
I didn't say that.
You said you were though, right?
Right.
Okay. So, I'm just curious. I'm not going to ask the details. Who here has been essayed? Okay. Wait, sorry. Just show of hands again. Oh, it's a. You're wondering.
How
Oh my
many
God.
times?
This is. Hold on. That's crazy.
Well, no.
bro.
Here's the thing: you can't use that as an argument because a lot of women feel not validated in what it is.
That's right. They feel.
Wait, I do have a
Feel.
follow-up
Oh, they
question.
feel,
here.
it's not
I do
proven.
have
If you
a follow-up
feel-
question.
Some of them
Hold
feel
on.
not-
Allow me to do
She
the
said
follow-up
some of
question
them
first.
feel
Stop.
not.
Okay. Those of you who raised your hand, did you go to the police?
No, couldn't.
No. Did you? Yes, you went to the police.
Does that mean it didn't
Wait,
happen?
hold on.
Is
Is
this
this
your
the guy
argument?
who the choking thing?
There's a separate instant.
Okay. And then did you go to the police? Okay. That was it. That was my question.
And so you're saying because we didn't go to the police?
No,
it
I'm
didn't
not saying
happen.
anything. I don't know what happened
What
or
is
what
that
didn't.
proving?
Well,
I
so
A lot
so
of men don't go to
And
the
did you
police.
go to the
yeah.
police?
So I'll tell you the term, right? No, they would laugh me out of the building. Right? They'd laugh me out of the building, even though it was clear on video.
So they
They
don't
would
take
laugh
men
me.
seriously.
They would laugh me out of the building. It's not even an option for us. But the thing is like,
Right.
so to kind of dive into this, all Brian's trying to say is like, if you have this kind of hyperinflated number, which would include things like catcalling or things which clearly are not
be
sexual
separate.
assault, right? These should be in kind of totally different categories, and the
agree.
reason they're put into the same is to inflate the number, thus making men look far more predatory than they actually are. So if that is the case, then, and you can even see like kind of with your rah-rah feminism that pops out really
I
quick.
wouldn't say I have a rah-rah.
Well, you
feminism.
did, and I'll explain where I saw it. I'll explain the exact moment that I saw the rah-rah feminism. It was when when I said, yes, I feel, and you well, you're going to invalidate? Well, yeah, and here's why. You have to invalidate feelings for proof and evidence with clear criteria, because otherwise, how do we get the actual number? Right? You could I couldn't just say, do you feel like you were essayed?
Right. I mean, then in court it wouldn't hold up. But
Well,
I
it's
don't
not
think
just
that means
in
you
court.
should look someone in the face and say, well, then it didn't happen.
But it can't really hold up external to that either, because you're a number who would never make it into the stats absent court, right? Because you never went to court. So then, but you would be counted in this number. So how would we prove that? How could we falsify that other than
You can't.
You can't, right? You can't. So this is why when people say believe all women, it sounds to me like fucking
I don't think
absurd.
that's true. No, I disagree. with
Yeah,
that
it sounds to
statement.
me
You
like
can't.
total
Right.
absurdity, because it's like by your kind of your own metrics, you invalidate the very thing that we're supposed to believe.
Well, then
Quite yet. You said something about white men. What was the statement there? You said you would.
She's scared of the white dudes more.
You said you'd be
I
more scared
think
of white guys than
if
black
I
guys.
were given two random men, one was black and one was white, and I'm not saying that.
Say it.
Okay, I don't think you can be racist towards a white person. I will say that.
Oh boy. Okay. But so you would prefer what?
A black man over a white man.
To be
Like in the same room with,
In the
to
same
trust,
room
to
with.
be in the forest. Oh, you're agreeing with me?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were going to disagree. I was
Oh,
gonna,
no,
I
I'm
was getting scared.
agree, of course.
Okay. Wait. So hold on.
Because they harmless.
Here, let's explore the.
Like dudes are harmless.
Hold on. Hold
Well, I don't
on.
think anyone's
hold on.
harmless.
Why it's more dangerous? Yeah, of course.
Wait,
All
what
the
Wait, can I
cycles
ask you a question?
also
A
kill
couple
them,
things.
so
Okay, so if we were to,
I'm scared.
if someone was to say, I would feel more comfortable in a room with a white person over a black person, would that be a racist statement?
Unfortunately,
Yes.
yeah.
You can't use that argument though about because there's a whole history behind that.
Yeah.
Wait,
So what?
What do you mean?
What do you mean so what?
Well, let's assume.
I mean, the white man has always been the oppressor, regardless.
boy.
Sure. Well, I'm just gonna grant
I
it.
want to have this conversation.
Like, I'm literally just gonna grant it. In fact, we'll just pretend that that black men and women were freed only yesterday, 24 hours ago. Okay, they've only had 24 hours. They've had their freedom. Okay. How would this statement in any way make sense to say, I would feel more comfortable in a room with a black man versus a white man, or a white man versus a black man? How is that not a preconceived notion still based around race?
Can you condense that question again?
How is it not a preconceived notion still based around race to say I would feel more comfortable around this racial group than this one? How's that not
I think it's a racial notion, but I just think because my belief that you can't be racist against a white person.
Yeah, I know that
then
that's
it
your
leads
belief.
To,
But what is it founded on? I just granted that it was just yesterday.
it's
It
founded
just
on
only
history.
happened
Yeah,
yesterday.
I mean, that makes it even more valid. I
Sure,
think.
sure. But what's the validity, though, of saying I have a preconceived notion about a racial group, and so therefore, based on the preconceived notion, hang on, let me finish the question first.
sorry.
Based on the preconceived notion of this racial group, I select this one because I think that I'll be safer around them. But if you flip it and say, okay, but I agree with that. Just for me, it's whites. In what world would that not be racial on both ends or racist on both ends?
Maybe it is a little.
Prejudice, is that?
Maybe, but
Wait.
I don't think.
Hold on. Let me. We'll pursue this, but really
I
quick,
just think
really
power
quick.
Power
Hold on.
dynamics have a
Hold
lot
on.
to do with it.
Hold on, really quick as possible. Okay, so you said you would feel more comfortable with a black man over a white man.
I did say that.
You
yes.
said that. Okay. And you don't think that statement is objectionable, correct?
No, I think it is a little bit.
Okay. But then do you think it's more objectionable to say, I would rather be with a white person over a black person? Is that a more objectionable position?
If I ask you to repeat the question, you're just gonna roll your eyes, and I'm telling you,
Yeah,
I've
it's
told you
just like
4
that.
times already. I need to we can go back to me, but I just need like a break because I can't keep focusing. I feel like my energy, my focus has been sustained, and I need to take a break. So please respect that.
Do you want a Red Bull or something? Or an energy drink? You can take a little breather if you need. Is that?
I just want to say,
Is
I'm
that
not
a
really
quit?
sure why
Yawn.
people.
Oh, wait. Wait, are you leaving?
No, she's okay. Don't.
You can take a break if you want. That's fine. If you need a little breather on, that's fine.
Wait, what happened?
So all good. Don't pay attention.
You can
Is
be
that
racist towards anybody.
Is that
so
cognitive
it's not fair to
dissonance?
say
Is that what
That's
happened there?
what that
Racist
looks like.
towards
It's very
white people.
painful.
Little
So cognitive dissonance is always very painful for people, and that's what happens. They get very emotional. And even men,
Physical response.
even men, it becomes a very physical response when their worldview collides with reality.
Wow, then.
All good?
Yeah.
I think I'm going to tie it back to the last conversation and say I think syntactically, it's the right word. How do I don't. I think. What?
Maybe contextually.
Techno Trooper donated
One second.
200.
Random.
Okay. I think just like you you can't technically be racist towards a white man or sexist towards a man. I think it can be insensitive and it can be rude and hurtful.
Wait, so
but I
hold
think
on.
because my core belief that power dynamics play a lot into how the cultural significance of what something means.
Are women a minority?
Maybe not minority numerically, but definitely, I wouldn't say we're oppressed, but I would say, and you can't compare struggles.
Why not?
Isn't that the
Because
feminism?
everyone has their own struggles.
Yeah, that's
Every
why they
group
should be
has their own
compared.
struggles. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say women are oppressed, especially when compared to black women. But I would say that they definitely have more obstacles than men. That doesn't mean men don't have struggles. And I think you can say hurtful things that are considered sexist to a man, but in a cultural significance, they don't compare.
Two things really quick. So just definitively, can you be sexist towards a man?
I don't think I have a definitive answer. I think it's a gray area.
I don't think it is.
Okay, well,
I think
we
it's a
disagree
yes.
on that.
I think it's a yes or no.
I disagree.
Okay.
And I just
I'll
won't
ask one
answer.
last question.
Okay.
For next 30 minutes.
Is it, well, 2. It's going to be 2, but it'll be very fast. You agree with me that you can be prejudiced without it being racist? Meaning, if like a group of black people hate white people because they're white, they're not being racist, but they're still being prejudiced. Like, it's prejudicial, right?
I think in being racist or being prejudiced, but I think you can be prejudiced without being
Racist. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so they would be being prejudiced in a situation like that.
For what? What was the scenario again?
If they just hate you because you're white.
Yes.
Yeah, that's prejudice, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell me why morally being prejudiced is better than being racist?
I don't think one's, well, that's a good question that I don't have a specific answer for.
You should think about that.
I'll think about that.
Just sent 2
She
links.
will. All night long.
So
Touch My Blade donated $200. The young lady's arguments are very flawed, and that is why she almost broke down and needed a break for very basic questions. Just take the L as everyone else sees the L you already took.
Okay, thank you.